Located on the Pacific coast between Guatemala and Honduras, the Spanish-speaking country is full of delicious food, local history, and breathtaking views. It has steadily gained a rise in tourism as the country has changed their currency to the US dollar, and its newest president has arrested a large portion of criminals, raising the status of the country to one of the safest in Central America. This is how we spent 2 weeks exploring everything from the most touristy to the little known local events and everything in between of El Salvador. We started our trip in the sparkling capital known as San Salvador. While we were there, we visited this beautiful botanical garden where we saw local wildlife like this adorable agouti, which is a relative of the capybara, and this massive iguana, as well as a bunch of turtles, fish, and everything else. We stayed at the Hyatt Centric on Points, and it was a very beautiful property. I didn't record inside, but here are some pictures from their website. 90% of the tourists we saw were staying here and would stay mostly within the capital. We ended up staying in the capital for only a few days as we waited for our friends to arrive so we could go and explore more of the country. We also explored the massive bustling city center, which was full of markets and food and this gigantic library, among other things. One of the most touristy things that people probably know about El Salvador is this place called Cafe Albania. Cafe Albania, which is this giant adventure park, it actually went viral a few years back because of their massive rainbow slide. Just to enter the park is $5, and if you want to do all the attractions, it's about $50 a person. My friends did all the attractions, but I did about half of them because I get scared easily. Anyway, of course, we had to do the rainbow slide, so that was like number one on our list. It was very fast, but really cool to look at and slide down. It literally goes by in the blink of an eye. The heavier and taller you are, the faster you go. So my husband went very quickly. So if you are a tall person planning to go to El Salvador to go on the rainbow slide, be aware of that. There was also 2 parts of the slide. The first part was like shorter, and the second half was way longer with more bumps. So there's different things to expect on each half. I also went ziplining for the very first time. It was really fun. It was a little bit scary because we had to slow ourselves down using the gloves that they gave us. So like when we got close to the end of the zip line, we had to slow ourselves down before we stopped. That was a really important part. That was a little scary, but we all ended up doing it, and it turned out all right. Each section of the zip line also got progressively longer, similar to the rainbow slide, but it was really cool because each part of the zip line also got better and better views of the park and the surrounding area. The maze was the maze was super intricate and really well thought out. We got lost several times, even though we thought we were going somewhere. We ended up in the middle of nowhere, had to backtrack several times. It took us about half an hour to reach the center, and and in the center, you climb up this little tower, you ring the bell, and above you is the zip line where we just were on. There was also a smaller maze that was a little bit more relaxing. It was in the shade, and it had this cute little canopy opening part at the end. The one attraction that I did not want to go on was this drop swing because it was freaking terrifying. But my friends did it and enjoyed it. And I'm very proud of one of my friends because she was also scared, but she ended up doing it. The real reason we came to El Salvador was actually to celebrate a local holiday at a local village where my friend's family is originally from. It was a multi-day celebration with fireworks, live bands, a DJ, food, activities, and party juice, of course, if you know what I mean. The original holiday is meant to honor the patron saint of that particular village, also known as a canton. I probably said that wrong. I'm so sorry. So on the first day of the festivities, they actually carry the saint that they make on a float and like on a parade through the town, and then they carry it up to the church and bring it inside of the church, and then everyone's supposed to pray and do a mass before the celebration. And the next following 3 to 4 days is the celebration of partying, dancing, eating, meeting with family, and all that. It's a really unique and cool experience that I think is unlike anything I've ever experienced. The closest thing I can possibly compare it to is Mardi Gras in Louisiana, which is what I grew up with. In between and after the celebrations and partying, we actually stayed at several Airbnbs across the country. I didn't get a lot of footage of that because I was just overwhelmed with everything going on in the best way. But I did forget to get footage of a lot of the different Airbnbs, except for this one, which was my favorite. It had a pool and it had separate rooms, and it was all kind of located across this massive property behind a gate. It was intense. There was also a shared eating and hangout space outside between the bedrooms, and it even had its own outside bathroom. I loved all the hammocks and the trees and walking around in the little outside kitchen area where we had breakfast. But the only thing that was really difficult were dealing with the mosquitoes. There was a ton of mosquitoes, and the mosquitoes were everywhere. They were in the bedrooms. They're outside. Like you got bit. You got bit. Like throughout the entire trip, I got bit, but especially at that Airbnb because it was outside and had a lot of grass and water, we got bit. What was great about it being hot all year round, though, was that we could visit places with water that were so refreshing and relaxing. One of the ones we went to is La Cascadas, which is a waterfall with this beautiful pool at the bottom, where we could like swim and hang out and like cool off just from traveling and driving around the country. And my friend who's originally from El Salvador, she and her family had come to El Salvador the year before. So we went to a lot of places that they had already been to and that they had recommended. So it was like we were kind of going on an itinerary. We were kind of going on a itinerary that was already pre-planned and guaranteed to be great. So every single spot we went to that they had been to before was fantastic. After going through the lower, hotter parts of El Salvador, we ended up going up in the mountains of Apaneca, where we traveled to this sleepy little town with a cozy cafe inspired by Ratatouille that was our absolute favorite. We ended up going there for breakfast and dinner one day, and then the next day we also went for breakfast. That's how many times we went to this little cafe because it was so cute. The people who worked there, one of the guys who worked there, he like was on it. He was so sweet. He'd talk to us. He knew he was on it. He gave us everything we wanted to eat. He gave us recommendations. On the last day, he made my husband this really cool looking, actually Japanese style coffee and like walked us through the entire process of how it's made and like what he had to do. And it was just the coolest thing that we got to see on that trip. Plus, there was other like local food places and like markets that we went to in the area that were really good. It was a cute, sleepy, sweet town. That was one of the calmer parts of the trip that I really enjoyed. Of course, you can't talk about El Salvador, which is a country literally located on the Pacific Ocean, without talking about the beach, the beaches, and also water parks, because water parks are a very central part of being in El Salvador since it's such a very hot country. There's lots of places to chill out in water and cool off, which is essential because it's hot all year round. We ended up going to Sunset Park, which is in La Libertad, which is the closest beach to San Salvador. So a lot of people go there. It had carnival rides, shopping, food. We actually stayed in an Airbnb there that I didn't get a picture of, but it was really cute. We ate some food on the beach there, watched people walking along the beach, and watched the waves come in. It was like a peaceful. We also ended up exploring some of the natural parts of El Salvador that are not centered around water, like this volcano called El Boqueron. It's actually a massive volcano crater, and it's really close to San Salvador actually. So a lot of people go. It's a really relaxing and fun day trip, and it's a little steep, but like the views around the entire park are worth it. We also went to many local resorts located along the coast of El Salvador, which were each stunning in their own right. We went to several places where you could get food and access to the pool and beach of a resort for a day, and it was really affordable if you were coming from the U.S. especially. I'm really grateful for my friends for showing us a side of the country that most would probably not get to see if they mostly stayed in like this really pretty, sparkling, gentrified center of San Salvador. But I'm grateful that we got to see like where my friends' family grew up, where they came from. I was grateful that they wanted to kind of open up and show us like a bit of history of the country and their history there. I think it makes it an experience that is even more special to me than most other experiences that I've had traveling to other countries. I do hope tourism brings more awareness to the country, brings more people, brings more money, brings more good to the people living in the country, but I also know that tourism can be really destructive and also bring people down. And so I'm in between on how I feel about that. But if you do go to El Salvador, I hope that you can be respectful of the people there. Think about how the people there live and work hard, and go support the little local businesses and markets and shops and things that you find, not just the sparkling, expensive, gentrified areas that you see when you first arrive to the country. Yeah, El Salvador was a beautiful country. I hope to go again one day, and I'm very grateful for my friends for showing us how beautiful of a place it can be.